Hello FPL world, my name is Gordon and welcome to FPL Galaxy. This week we're going to be reviewing my team in game week number 3 which just passed. So there's so many lessons that we can learn from this game week. Very unexpected results, definitely one of the lowest game weeks that you would have, but this is FPL, so even when you would say one of the lowest game weeks, you may be surprised with another lower mark or another lower set of points. So at the moment this is the lowest, the tied lowest, because in game week 1 I got a 39 or so. So surprisingly, 2 game weeks later, when I thought I would bounce back stronger than I did in game week 2 was pretty good for me, but look at what has happened. 39 again. So many lessons to learn from, and this is why we're here. I'm going to review my game week 3 team and see what next to do after here. So in this video I'm going to be reviewing my team, then I'm going to be showing the transfer that I've made, and finally we'll show you my team selection for game week 4. So to start with, in goal I started with Raya picked up 2 extra points even after having 1 point deducted because they had conceded a couple goals. They were playing Fulham, and because Raya is so athletic, he's very acrobatic when he's making those saves. He makes a number of saves that translate into extra points. So every 3 saves made translate into 1 point. So in this match he made at least 6 of them. Yeah, I remember in this particular match he recorded 6 direct saves, which translated into 2 extra points plus the one that he got for playing. This gave him 3 points, so a decent mark considering the low points that most goalkeepers got this game week. So in defense, this was pretty bad, guys. So this defense was really bad. Before this game week, was expecting a number of attacking returns from all these guys, particularly because they're all fullbacks. They play in teams that are very attacking, that have shown the potential that they could collect some assists. But look at what has happened. There are zeros, there are ones, and a 0 there. Cancelo, for example, is not somebody to expect to get a 0, but look at what has happened. So you wouldn't want to judge what has happened to these guys based on this game week only, because like mentioned, this is a very unexpected game week. So Cancelo got me 0 there because they had conceded quite a number, and of course because of the yellow card that he collected, he got 0 at the end of it. So they were playing Newcastle, and because of this they conceded 3 goals, which was a -1 from the 2 that he got, minus the -1 because of the yellow card, and that's why it ended up on 0. William was the second one whom I thought would collect a clean sheet because they were facing Everton, which wasn't so much of a difficult fixture for them, and quite alright. The match went on so well, and it was in the dying minutes that they had conceded that painful goal. I was actually even seeing myself getting a 7 from him because he had that extra bonus point which would have been added to him because of how well he had played. He was putting in those crosses, but as you know, FPL tied to the Premier League, certain things happen that you wouldn't expect. So Gray from Everton scored that brilliant goal, and this is where we find ourselves getting that one from Nico Williams, and of course he also collected a -1 because of the yellow card that he had picked up. Zinchenko also, yeah, so things happened. Arsenal over there had a good game in terms of attacking returns, but it wasn't so good when it came to goals conceded. Yeah, so we see that because of what happened, it now left him into the 1. Robertson, finally, Manchester United were playing Liverpool. Going into this game, people thought this would be a very easy fixture for Liverpool because they had to bounce back from the crazy 2 games that they had, and people were thinking, well, this is going to be the match that Liverpool finally bounced back. But it so happened that it was actually the worst game that they would face. Man U also had to bounce back from the 2 losses that they had, and Manchester United gave Liverpool something to to remember, that was one of the most prolific games that Manchester United have had in a long time. And so the defense is what suffered the most, because Manchester United scored twice, and as you know, that translates into a negative for a defender, and Robertson was left but with 1 point. Going into the midfield was encouraging. Martinelli, a very good option. He's been showing just how good an FPL asset he's been, and also an attacking asset he is in that Arsenal team, which has risen from the ashes. And like I've been mentioning, I'm going to make this coming game week, or this entire season of my FPL themed rise from the ashes, because of the many things that have been happening, things that you wouldn't expect to happen. There's Kulusevski, who collected 3 points. The extra 1 point was because they kept a clean sheet. Tottenham was one of the few teams that got a clean sheet, so that's why they got that over there. Then Son also, these are things that you wouldn't expect from Son, especially seeing that he was joined top scorer last season. You would expect him to be scoring those goals, but as you know, it's the EPL, many things happen, so judging on one game only may be misleading. So that's why I still have him in my team. I don't want to make rash decisions on him. I want to give him an extra game to see how he performs, and especially knowing that Richarlison is breathing over his neck in terms of the expected time he has to play. That is a cause for concern on my part, because Sonny was substituted, Richarlison came in, he was looking very good, I could see him dribbling. So if this continues, I'll have to make a very tough decision by removing Sonny and bringing in somebody who actually gives me those points week in, week out. Kulusevski, also, we saw just how well we played in the first game week. The second game week against Chelsea wasn't so good, because Chelsea were brilliant in defense, and Wolves also played a very defensive match, and that's why this match also wasn't so well for Tottenham, as we saw. So this is what we are going to see reflected in the points that Tottenham struggled for goals in this game week also. The front line was encouraging. The likes of Haaland there, who picked up 6 points. Yeah, so Haaland is not somebody I would even question. He's doing the most in that team. It's only because he's not being given those passes that he needs for him to score. He's a poacher, and he makes those runs into the final third, into that box, and that's why he gets many chances of scoring. Then there's Belmont from Brentford, who was facing an opponent who I expected him to score from this game week, but whatever happened, you just know it's the EPL. So this is what I got from him, 2 points. I was expecting him to score, that's why I got him into this team. He's the one who will replace Darwin Nunes because of the red card that he had picked up. Then, as you're able to see, I put the captaincy on Jesus. Jesus would have easily gotten many points from that game week, from this game week 3. There was one goal that he scored, but because of VAR, it had to be reversed. So he would have easily gotten double digits, which would have gone past 20 points. But as you know, Jesus only collected 4 from this game, and because of the yellow card that he had picked up, it would have been 6. Then there was that yellow card, which of course dropped it to 4. Yeah, he got an assist, so that was 3 plus the 2 that he could have gotten from playing the match, but then there was the yellow card that he had picked up, so which reduced it to 4. Yeah, so this is how the game week went. I picked up 39 points from this one. Yeah, so like I've been mentioning, I'm going without Salah for now to see just what I can be able to do with this team. So many people had Salah in their team, and in the very dying minutes of that match between Liverpool and Manchester United, Salah managed to score like he usually does, and he collected 8 points. That was the 7 points plus 1 bonus point, and many who captained Salah got 16 from there. So Salah really saved many in this game week. So now let's move on to now the bench to see what kind of bench I had. So I had Ward there in goal. I didn't doubt my keeper Rare. I didn't even skip a beat when it came to making this decision. It's something that I had made outrightly. I knew Ward is not so prolific a goalkeeper. Even if he concedes, you're only going to get 1 point from him or 2 points, because he doesn't do much in goal. So is mostly a sitting duck. I've seen how Leicester have been picking up those, conceding those goals, and mostly it's because of the goalkeeper they have. So of course he's the best goalkeeper I would have at 4 million, because he's the only playing 4 million goalkeeper. So that's why I have him there on bench. So he's just a sitting goalkeeper on bench. Then Da Silva. Many people thought Da Silva would be able to pick up some points. Even I thought he would, and that's why I had him placed as my first sub there. They were playing Fulham. They expected these guys to score a number of goals against Fulham, but lessons are being shown that we need to start rethinking these 4.5 million midfielders who are actually playing. Then I had Walker, who I had swapped for Williams. Yeah, so I was expecting Williams to get something from there, and I didn't want to have a double Man City defense, and that's why I benched Walker to just make that variation, so that if at all City were to concede, I wouldn't lose so many points. But this is what happened. But unfortunately, the person I put inside there didn't get as much. So yeah, it was a logical move that I made, but unfortunately it didn't yield many results. Unfortunately, the final player that I benched is the one who scored the highest points in this team with 8 points, and that is Andreas. Andreas played very well. He put in the assist, he collected bonus points, and that's why he had that 8. So in a match where Fulham I expected to score, Andreas would definitely have a hand in that attacking return. So this was my team. This is how my team did. So many lessons to learn from, and going forward I would like to now show you the transfer that I've made and the reasoning behind that transfer. Then we'll be able to see now my team selection. So on the transfers, Walker goes out. Of course, Walker is at 5.1 at the time I was making the transfer, going out. Perisic comes in. Perisic at the time I was making the transfer, he was 5.4, but currently he's at 5.1. Yeah, he had a haul of 12 points and got so many people bringing him in. Yeah, so definitely we expect so many things from Perisic, because he's an attacking defender, very attacking, and that is why many people want to bring him back. So the reason as to why I removed Walker is because in that City defense he looked the weakest, and that's why I had to make this change, because as we know, Pep is going to start relating his team. So Walker may definitely be one of those people that would suffer back there, because he mostly had a hand in those goals that City conceded, and if there was any defender who would be chopped right after that match, Walker would be one of them. So I didn't want to be in a situation where I start losing players because now they've started being rotated, and that is why I had to put in somebody who may give me more points. Yeah, because you may say Perisic is a safer option, but even he is not 100% nailed in that team because of the injury. He has to be rested and he has to be rotated from time to time. So it's just an opportunity cost for me. The points that I expect Perisic to bring in compared to Walker being in my team. Walker is not so much of an attacking defender, and that is why I've brought in a more attacking defender in the likes of Perisic. Now going into a game week for my team selection, this is going to be my team. So in goal, I maintain Raya, who plays Everton at home. In defense, I have Cancelo there, who plays Crystal Palace at home. Perisic definitely replaces Walker, and he starts. They play Nottingham Forest away. Then we have Zinchenko, who plays Fulham at home. Then finally, my fullback Robertson, who plays Bournemouth. Liverpool definitely have to come back from this, and I expect a lot from these guys, the fullbacks at Liverpool, who mostly have a hand in the attacks that go on at Liverpool. Then Martinelli in the midfield is the first player I have there, who plays Fulham at home also. Then I've got Kulusevski. Nottingham Forest, they've been looking weak in defense, and definitely Kulusevski might be one to exploit that defense. So I have him there with his counterpart Sonny, who also I expect to bring in something from this because he hasn't had the best start to the season. Then my attacking is maintained. I have Haaland there playing Crystal Palace. Yeah, because of the interview that Pep gave, saying Haaland is not going to play every game. Most people have had some concern about that, and most people are shipping him out. But this is Haaland we're talking about, so if you are able to have him in the team, even just play for 30 minutes, he's definitely able to do some damage, and that is why we got him. If he poses a risk on the minutes played, definitely in future we're going to chop him off for somebody who is more nailed. But for now, I expect Haaland to start the match, especially that when they were playing the friendly match with Barcelona, he started on bench and only played for a few minutes, which shows that he's going to start in this game against Crystal Palace. Then we have Belmont Everton there, who plays at home against Everton. I expect something from Belmont, who can be my differential in this team because most people have Tony. Yeah, and definitely Tony is one who is going to pose a huge threat to this Everton team because of the aerial threat that he has from corners. But in Belmont, he picks up those runs, and he may be one to exploit Everton's defense, and that is why I have him in there. Yeah, so if he doesn't produce also, he is one I'm looking to chop in soon. Then Jesus plays Fulham at home. As we know, I've got the triple Arsenal team in there, and that is why Jesus carries on the captaincy, because Fulham is one team that has been leaky in terms of the defense. So as good as they've been playing in terms of attack, they haven't been so good in defense, and that is why I expect Arsenal to exploit that defense. So my bench kind of maintains, of course, with one adjustment. I've got Ward there, who plays Chelsea. It's not going to be an easy match for Leicester. Then I've got Andreas there. I've rearranged him to be the first in defense in case anything happens to one of my players in my 11 there. Then I've got Da Silva there, who plays Everton. I've put him as the second sub. And finally, Neco Williams. So my reasoning behind putting Andreas there is that I've got Zinchenko there as my defender. So if I'm to bring in somebody who is to be arranged there, who can affect my points, if Arsenal are to concede a goal, it may be because Andreas assisted the likes of Mitrovic. So if Andreas picks up some points and seated on my bench there, and anything happens, say Perisic doesn't play because of an injury or anything like that, then definitely he goes in to replace Perisic. So this is my Game Week 4 team selection, and this is my reasoning behind this team. So just a few things that I could mention in this game week is the fact that Rodrigo right now is the most bought-in player. So I would advise you guys to bring him in. Myself, I'm going to make that transfer next week because I don't want to make a -4. And that is why I'm holding on to making that move. He plays Brighton, and I'm just hoping, because he's going to continue punishing me. I was supposed to bring him in last week, but because of certain moves that I prioritized, we didn't even give me the results I expected. He scored against a team that most people didn't expect him to score, and that is why he finds himself on the top of the list, the buy list of most managers. More than 1 million managers have brought in Rodrigo, and we see him playing Brighton. Brighton have been very defensive, and I would like to see how that match ends. If he definitely scores or assists in the next match, he's even going to have more buys from more managers going into game week 5. So this is my thought process. This is the team that I go with in game week 4. So hoping we're going to bounce back from a nightmare of a game week 3 we had. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Subscribe to the channel and follow me on FPL Galaxy ZM on Twitter.